Hi everyone, today is May 24th, 2018, and you're tuning in to episode 55 of Hungry Gaming Podcast. Before we begin, there is some housekeeping. Please remember to check out our main website, www.hungrynetwork.com. There you can find all of our latest episodes, and you can subscribe to make sure you never miss a beat of what we have to say. You can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Google Play Music, etc., and other affiliate podcast services by simply searching Hungry Gaming Podcast. If you have something to say, a comment, or recommendation, join the jury by liking our Facebook page and tweeting us at Hungry Gaming Podcast. All right, guys, Mondo here. Before I proceed with this week's news and discussion, I want to announce the winners. I apologize for getting these out so late, but you know what they say, better late than never, eh? I tallied up the results, and the winners are, and I apologize in advance for any mispronunciations, for the Civilization 6 Steam Code giveaway, Hardik Dakara. And for the Rainbow Six Siege Xbox One, the winner is Amarian Giddens. Congratulations to both of you. I will be sending you both emails to get your games as soon as possible. Emails will be going out tomorrow, Friday, the 25th. And if I don't hear from you guys by Monday, the 28th, I will have to redraw for a new winner. Don't make me do that. It's annoying, and I have no time, literally no time to be doing that stuff. So please, 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 respond to my email as quickly as possible, and that way we can expedite that, and you can start playing your games as quickly as possible. All right, guys, now I have a really cool announcement to make, and I will be also doing another giveaway for the month of June, and I was going to give away, and I don't know what game it is because I haven't decided. I'm actually going to ask you guys to decide for me. Now, what I'm going to do is this, and I think it's a really cool idea, so just entertain me here, guys. I'm going to ask you, anybody who wants to recommend a game that I give away for June, to either retweet, so tweet me at Hungry Network, okay? You can leave a comment on Podbean or YouTube. I know, there's a YouTube. Hey guys, for those of you watching the YouTube video. Or you can email me, for those guys who don't want to do anything publicly. You can email me privately at hungrynetwork@gmail.com. Okay, one more time, guys. One more time, just, to be clear. If you have a recommendation for a game that I should give away for the month of June, you can tweet me at Hungry Network. You can leave a comment on Podbean or YouTube, or you can email me privately at hungrynetwork@gmail.com. I'll put all of this in the show notes so that way you guys don't, you don't have to take my pronunciation for it. That way you guys can spell the email properly and all that stuff. But what does this do for you? It's kind of cool. I will automatically enter you into the June month, the month of June's giveaway. So if you leave any comment, it doesn't have to be one that I accept. So it doesn't have to be one that I say, okay, this is the game that you recommended. This is the game we're going to go for. Therefore, you're entered. No. Anybody who comments or recommends anything for the month of June will automatically be entered for the giveaway. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it's pretty much a free giveaway that you guys get into, and you kind of, give me an insight on what games I should give away. Any games are free. Any games are free to, for choosing or recommendation, as long as just kind of make sure that they have like a, some sort of like digital version. So that way it's whether it's on PlayStation Store or on Xbox Live Store or on Steam or Origin, something like that, which I can kind of like, buy and send you guys the code, make it a lot quicker. That way you guys don't have to wait for shipping or anything like that. And it makes it a lot easier for me to do that stuff. All right, guys. See, not hard. I hope you guys jump on this because it's really cool stuff. All right, guys. First item of the week for news. This will be our general podcast, so this will be our kind of like our little bit longer podcast than I promised for the mini ones. I do have some mini ones coming up, but for this one, just a general podcast. Let's talk about Battlefield 5. Holy crap, that trailer. Now, we've been blessed with what seems to be a teaser trailer. I really don't want to call it a full trailer because we really don't have gameplay or anything like that, but we do know it's set in World War II. It's kind of resonates with the predecessor in the sense that like it kind of looks like Battlefield 1, it has like that grungy look, but it doesn't have that atmosphere. See, the guns look good and they sound really, really good in the trailer, and the trailer is just chaotic. It's fast-paced, which kind of hints at maybe the gameplay that they're trying to aim for, but it's kind of arcadey as well. If you've watched the trailer, you probably understand what I'm like, kind of where I'm going with this. Battlefield 1 had this really nitty gritty, dark, like atmosphere to it. Like even the first demos that we got were dark, people yelling, people suffering, death. It was more of like it was trying to show us, I guess, a different approach to what war games have, Call of Duty style and stuff like that have given us in the past, maybe like 7 years. This one's different. This one's a little more fast paced. You've got, how can I say? So like, just kind of like mentalize if you haven't seen the trailer, right? It starts with a rural European village. It's broad daylight. And then the player's character follows the action straight with soldiers rushing into like one of the homes, and there's just bullets coming in from everywhere. There's people fighting, people, getting shot at. They rush up the stairs, and then they look over the window, and there's a tank rolling in. Okay. And then they jump out of the window, or the opposite window, and then it's just a whole mess of things going on. Planes fighting in the air, a plane crashes, then this guy picks up an MG and he's just like ripping people up, and then like tanks fighting in the background. There's like a distant valley and there's just tanks fighting, and then the trailer ends with some guy grabbing the main player and kind of like almost like choking him on the ground, and then he gets slammed by somebody else. So it's more fast-paced, less, methodical. But it didn't seem methodical. It seemed chaotic. It's just fascinating how in Battlefield 1 we go with this very well thought out, let's think about this. Maybe that's the tone they want to take because of the fact that World War I is not necessarily that well known in the gaming industry, at least not that well fleshed out. Nobody really at least prior to Battlefield 1, nobody really thought, historical epic war, World War I has to be that. No, usually they would aim for like World War II, some, more of the strategy type real-time strategy games, or like, we'll usually aim at like, colonial battles, and then we had some games hit Vietnam, stuff like that. But World War I usually has not been touched to that degree. So that's pretty cool. I mean, the fact is that World War II, although I think it's been done a little bit much, it's not been done that much recently. We're only getting this now with World War II, the Call of Duty iteration. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes, right? And honestly, if it goes the right way, this might be really cool. It might actually, I don't know, serve the purpose that they're trying to aim, which is obviously gather more players, have, a good player count, and well, we'll see. I really can't say much beyond that. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So these are my impressions. This is the next item on the list. My impressions on State of Decay 2. I'm going to try and keep this kind of light, only because I want to create an independent video on State of Decay 2. I think it deserves that much. I kind of went in to this game with a very low level of expectation, predominantly because there was a lot of, I'm not going to say negative feedback, but it was very critical feedback. There was a lot of feedback on the fact that the game is not necessarily that optimized. The game is not that pretty either. This is subjective. Now that I've actually played the game, I can somewhat confirm that the graphics are not really that up to par with what I would consider current or even next gen expectations, whatever next gen means, which I'll talk in a sec. Now, it's fun. I think the one strength this game has is the fact that it does the zombie genre right for me. I think that all the other games kind of like have like this gun-ho, like, run around. I'm not referring to even the Call of Duty, like, because that's just vanilla zombies. That's not really zombies. But I'm even referring to like linear games, like masterpieces, like The Last of Us. They're great, but they're so linear that I feel like they don't really do the game that much. They don't do the role playing of a zombie apocalypse justice. Then you have games such as, it's not Dead by Daylight. Dying Light. I've never played Dying Light, but I've heard good things of it. But I've seen a lot of the gameplay, and I don't feel like it's exactly what State of Decay 2 is aiming for. State of Decay 2 is really what it seems to be aiming for, is a survival item management, resource management game. So you go in and you're trying to you're trying to manage your resources in a community that you're building. And then this community is obviously trying to survive against hordes of zombies that are not necessarily, it's not a horde mode or anything. They're everywhere. And you're trying to go out, gather resources, come back. You're scavenging. You're doing missions. It's got this, it's a very open world feel to it. It is open world, but it's got more of an open world feel than most games that I've played. Dead Island is another one that I kind of like. It kind of brought me back to that, where you know how in Dead Island you have like this camp base where you can kind of like camp in. You have your NPCs, your fellow people there, and then you leave to find weapons, to resources, do missions. It kind of has that vibe to it, but I feel like State of Decay 2 does it better. It really does. It does it better. There's influence levels that you have to do. There's customizations for building your particular safe haven. I forgot what they called it in the game, but it's kind of like a safe house or an area where you're safe from zombies, which is cool. You can create a medical bay. You can create stuff like that. I don't want to get too deep into it because I'm only about 5 or 6 hours into the game. I haven't put a lot of hours into it, but I really do recommend that if you are a zombie enthusiast, or if you enjoy the idea of living through a zombie apocalypse in any way, and you enjoy the idea of like kind of like season 1 Walking Dead type stuff, I definitely recommend this game for you. And I will most definitely recommend this game beyond the fact that the game is good, but it's also really accessible. If you're running an Xbox One or PC, you practically have access to it for $10. You don't have to pay the full price. With that said, and let me just clarify really quickly. The $10 is because of the Xbox Game Pass. If you're not aware of the Xbox Game Pass, you pay $10 a month. You have access to this like library of games, kind of like Netflix for gaming. Resembles the Origin, the way EA does Origin. You pay like $36 a year, and you've got like access to their entire library, which they call the Vault. So back to Microsoft. State of Decay 2 falls under the Xbox Game Pass. If you pay $10 a month, you get access to that, plus Sea of Thieves and a few others games. PC's a little more selective. If you're on Xbox, you've got a larger library of games that you have access to. With that said, the actual game, if you wanted to buy it, it's really not that expensive. I think it was like $30 to buy, and then I think it's got like a special edition at $49.99, which is even cheaper than most like games out of release. You know, it's usually about $59.99, $64 with tax. So it's not that bad. I think the pricing is actually competitive for what it is. I think it's a really good price. I recommend it. For the 5 or 6 hours that I've gotten into it, I haven't stopped thinking about going back and playing the game, which is good. It means that I'm intrigued, and it means that I'm interested in playing the game. So if it gives me, the way I see it is, if it gives me 10 hours of gameplay and I play it within a week, right, then you could do the math. It's at least $1 an hour, which is not bad. So I should play more, but whatever. I hopefully we passed the 10-hour mark. Okay, guys, so that's pretty much it for State of Decay 2. I don't want to go too much into it. General impressions, I recommend Zombie Enthusiast buy. If you're not into zombies, this is really, I mean, if you're maybe if you're like a freak of resource management and stuff like that, maybe this actually be kind of cool, because the zombies are a little bit kind of inconsequential. You know, they're like almost incidental. Like you're kind of like surviving in general, less, you know. So that's pretty cool. I recommend that. Okay. All right. So third part of the third point that I want to bring up is We Happy Few. Now, this is a game, and let me bring this up really quickly here, because since if you guys haven't known, I'm not running off a script today, so I'm going to kind of wing this a little bit. So We Happy Few it's a game. It's been out on early access. I can't tell you much about the game. It looks like this like 1960s retroactive like dystopian game, retro artistic. It's got it. Honestly, from just photos and pictures, I apologize for those of you guys who have actually played the game. Maybe you guys have a way more better understanding on what the game is, but I'm just basing this off of like the footage that I've seen, and it seems like pretty much like a 1960s dystopian BioShock remake. I'm sure there's way more nuisances to that than the generalization that I'm making, but it's kind of what I'm seeing here. Now, the interesting part about this game is not necessarily the game itself. I don't really know about this game, and I tried going to Steam and buying it, and it wasn't available, and I went on forums, and it's supposedly not on Steam anymore. Like the page is there, but you just can't buy it. You can't get access to any of the early versions either, so I can't tell you much on that. All I can tell you is this. Australia banned it altogether. The reason for them banning it is the use of the game has like this, like, I guess you can say like almost like focal point on the usage of drugs. The main character consumes this sort of like, I guess you could say substance to increase their joy meter. What the effects are for this, I'm not really sure. I haven't done the proper research for this because this only happened like a day or 2 days ago that they confirmed that Australia has actually banned it for the usage of drugs. There was speculation on whether it was like, government censorship of like, the game, because the game has like this dystopian feel. Look, I'm not well versed on Australian government and politics, so I can't tell you if that's even proper or not. I googled like Australian dystopia and obviously did not get any fruitful results. But there seems to be some sort of like comments in the internet. I can't really direct to any particular person. It's just like general Reddit comments of people complaining that Australia has this board that is common. Like they have this common like theme where they have a very conservative background, so they'll commonly ban games like this. I'm going to try my best to get more substantive facts on this. I just kind of threw this in here really quickly because I wanted to kind of bring it up to your attention, but I don't have any facts that I can like back up right now on this. But yeah, just keep it in mind that Australia has banned it, and let's open up the conversation. I don't really have much to say on this, but I really want to know what you guys think about drugs in games and whether you think Australia should actually, is it a valid point? Should a country ban a game because it has substance abuse? Should they ban a game because it has alcohol abuse, gun use? Germany tends to be pretty strict on some games as well. So, give me options. If you live in another country and you know a game that's, I apologize. If you live in another country and you know a game that's been banned in that country, let me know. I'm curious. This is actually a very good topic that I would like to get a group of guys together and just kind of discuss on this, because this might be really cool to further kind of like jump into. Okay, guys. So the next point I wanted to bring up is the PlayStation 5. Now, no, I'm not going to talk about the PlayStation 5 itself. I want to talk about the fact that Sony, well, it wasn't necessarily Sony. A reporter for the Wall Street Journal called Takashi Mochizuki, I know I butchered that name, but whatever. He tweeted, and I quote this, "P.S. Chief Kodera, PlayStation 4 is entering final phase of its life cycle, which should have negative impact to the unit, but recurring revenue via membership, services, etc. should cushion some of that," unquote. Really, the TLDR is PlayStation 4 is ending its life cycle. At least that's what he's saying. And Sony kind of came up and said, well, look, it's coming. The PlayStation 4 is coming to an ending cycle, but it doesn't mean that we're going to stop supporting it. They plan to support the PlayStation 4 well beyond the next gen release. When this next gen release occurs, we're not really sure. We don't even know when PlayStation 5 is going to happen. There are still games at least that we know of in development that are going to release for PlayStation 4. Whether they're going to release in dual console, so they're going to release in PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, we don't know. But this is actually a really interesting point to make, considering that usually consoles, their life cycle tends to be roughly about a decade, maybe like 7 to 9 years. We're slowly getting there. The PlayStation was originally released in 2013. We're in 2018, we're getting to the 5th year. So it would make sense that around the 6th or 7th year, we would be introduced to a new generation. Predominantly PlayStation 5 would probably be the name. I think there's confirmations that Sony has trademarked PS5. So that's pretty cool. Let's see where that goes. Let me confirm everything here. Just give you guys the full thing. No, that's pretty much it. At least for the PlayStation 5 part. Last things I didn't cover last week on the Black Ops 4 story. Black Ops 4 will be including a Battle Royale mode, and interestingly enough, it's replacing the campaign. And I think that's kind of interesting considering that I really don't see the campaign being anything important anyways. So they're kind of replacing the campaign, but I really don't feel like that's important to even bring up, because who plays the campaign? I know some people who... I used to be that guy who would play the campaign before playing the multiplayer. It was kind of like a, not a necessity, but it was like an honor to the developers saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to play the campaign, maybe recognize some maps in multiplayer because I'm playing this, maybe get some trophies in the way and stuff like that, some accomplishments. But I stopped doing that once I realized that it was absolutely it really was a waste of my time. But I know there are people there who really do enjoy it. Now, for me personally, this is kind of cool. I prefer the Battle Royale system over any campaign for a Call of Duty game, considering Call of Duty's strength is in multiplayer, not in linear storytelling. With that said, having seen some footage, some gameplay of Black Ops 4, I'm not really that interested in any campaign that would have provided anyways. World War II was a compelling sell for me. I really wasn't blown away by the campaign, but at least it made sense. You can't make a linear story out of a World War II heroic adventure. I really don't see anything interesting or compelling to play in this new Black Ops 4 when it comes to the campaign. Just, it doesn't really make any sense to me. Other news for this week, H1Z1 has made, I think it's already made his debut on the PlayStation, so that's pretty cool. Let me confirm that really quickly, but I'm pretty sure that they've already made their debut. Yep. So it's in an open beta, and it's already seen 1.5 million players. That's pretty cool. I'm glad to see that there is a chance of not survival, but there's a chance of kind of like coming back from the dead. It's like a revival, resurrection. I remember when PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds came out of, wherever it came from. And I know where it came from, guys. I know where it came from. I'm just saying, like, the fact is that when it did actually pop up on Steam, everyone was going crazy, and H1Z1 was left mostly a ghost town. And now we're seeing H1Z1 in, like, what would be the prime era for Battle Royale. And, I mean, it's targeting a community that does not have access to PUBG. And I think that's a major, major strength and a fantastic hit zone. Because when you really consider it, the only other option would be Fortnite. I'm not saying Fortnite's bad. I think Fortnite's doing excellent, and there's a fantastic community behind it. But it doesn't leave players with much options. If you want to play Battle Royale on PlayStation, you're pretty much stuck with Fortnite. Now with H1Z1 jumping in, it kind of gives players the option. And let's be honest, as much as we want to say PUBG is substantially different to all of the precursing to, all the Battle Royales that came before it, I used to say it before, and I'm going to say it again, PUBG and H1Z1, or King of the Hill H1Z1, are relatively, they're very, very similar. Maybe there's minute differences, UI differences, graphical differences, some resource management differences, but for the most part, the game itself, the core of the foundation is relatively the same. So I wouldn't be surprised to find PlayStation 4 players using H1Z1 as a mode to get out of, to get their PUBG, you can say, thirst or hunger out, and just quench it there. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see where that goes. Let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not really sure if there's anything else beyond that. I'll obviously keep you guys apprised to any more news on this particular subject. Let me see if I have anything else. I don't think I added anything else to the agenda. Got to make these quick. I don't want to make them too long, but I also don't want to make them too short, because then I feel like I'm not giving you guys enough news. I want to give you guys enough content to feel satisfied for the week, and then hopefully the mini episodes will fill the gaps in, maybe go a little more into detail on some things. Particularly, I'm going to focus on State of Decay 2. There is some Destiny news. I'm not sure if you guys are interested. I know a lot of people have kind of fallen off the bandwagon. I still love and play Destiny 2. Iron Banner is going on this week, so I suggest you jump in on that. The meta right now is not that bad. There's a good chance of getting loot, so I highly recommend that if you stopped playing Destiny, but you kind of like want to jump back in, I definitely recommend now would be a good time. Okay, guys, now my final segment, I like to talk about just deals that you can get for games. On Humble Bundle, I recently picked up Suicide Squad. How funny. Squad, the actual game. It's in early access, but it is $26 on Humble Bundle. I think that's an excellent price considering that the MSRP for that is $39.99. So not a bad pickup if you want to just kind of quickly jump in and, try it out. I'm personally not a big fan of it, but I couldn't throw away the deal. Like I was like, it's almost half the price. Might as well. Why not? I picked it up. I'm going to keep on saying this until the end of the month. Humble Bundle has Destiny, the foundation, the fundamental game, the core game, not including any of the expansion packs, which you will most definitely need to have if you plan to play end game content. Okay, but the actual core game is $12 in Humble Bundle if you do the monthly subscription, and I think they just call it monthly Humble Bundle or something like that. You don't have to pay for a year or for a few months. You can just pay for that 1 month. It's like $12. You get a few extra games. Guys, I'm not sponsored by Humble Bundle or anything like that. There are some good deals that I'm recommending. So that's one, but just keep in mind, you'd have to get the expansion pack to play end game material. So keep that in mind. Expansion is about $30. So it's about like the whole thing would cost you about $40 something, but hey, it's still a deal, right? One last comment I want to bring up for those of you on the Switch. I am constantly looking for new games to play on the Switch, particularly the more affordable ones. And let me tell you, I've been playing Battle Chasers all week. I love it. I think it's such a good game. It's very, very pretty to look at. The graphics are fantastic. So if you own a Switch and you like turn-based RPG, this is excellent. I kind of equate it to, it's like a Divinity Original Sin to light, right? It's light on the sense that you really don't have the whole positioning of the, how in Divinity Original Sin 2, you have the option to move your characters while you're doing the turn-based combat, so you can move them. There's walking. You can pretty much locate your character for optimum combat. And this one, it's just kind of like like Pokemon Battle Royale style, but it's still really, really cool, and it still really plays really well. So I definitely recommend that if you're into that. It was like, I think I paid like $30 or something like that, maybe $25. I'm not really sure right now how much I paid, but it was like along those lines. If you're into that, I highly recommend it. I'm also playing, I will never stop playing Legend of Zelda, but that's also one on the Switch that I gotta really finish because it's just, I kind of gave up on it. It was too big for me, and then I've come back and I'm kind of like giving it a little bit more tender love and care. I've already covered, I'm going to have some mini episodes on Star Citizen because there's some stuff to talk about. I'm going to jump back onto Escape from Tarkov. These are all games that are like my core interest. But I know that not everyone plays them, so I'm going to talk about those in like their own separate episodes, so that way you guys can like ignore them if you're not interested, or jump directly to those if you're interested in any particular game. All right, guys. I think that's it for this week. Our general episode, I'm going to try to get another episode done. I'm not meeting the Monday deadline. I'm sorry, guys. It's just my weekends are as hectic as they can be. I was originally planning on switching my deadline to Wednesday, so that Wednesdays I would upload, but I didn't meet that yesterday either. So unfortunately, at this point, I just can only promise one episode a week, and I can't promise when they're going to upload. I'm going to say that if I can, I will try and meet the Monday deadline as best as possible. But if I can't, at least rest assured that there will be an episode every week, someday, sometime throughout the week. So you'll be listening to this on Thursday, the 24th. I'm releasing these episodes ASAP. So before I used to wait like a day or two to make sure that like everything was good, I'm releasing these fresh out of the oven. The second I'm done editing, they're on Podbean. So that's that. You guys got that. So make sure to keep track of that. I'm trying my best, guys. Okay, guys. All right. Well, that's it for this week. If you guys know of anything that I missed, please leave a comment, recommendations, negative feedback if it's critical, if it's constructional feedback. Did I say that right? I don't know. But if it's constructive, that's the word. If it's constructive feedback, please let me know. Anything to like improve the show. I want to tailor this show as best as possible to the audience that I have, because you guys are awesome. And I know that we are all passionate about the same thing in some way or form. So I want to make sure we have this community to like kind of like have this conversation. Don't forget about the giveaway. Again, just to kind of reiterate, tweet me at Hungry Network with a recommendation, or you can comment on Podbean, you can comment on YouTube, and you can also email me privately at hungrynetwork@gmail.com. That'll all be on the show notes, so you can just scroll down there and read through that. It's all there. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you next week.